Welcome to the weekly Roc Open Mic. If you are a decision maker or a purchaser, but you're not actually the automation builder, this call may be a little technical for you. That's okay. If you want to listen in, that's great. See what we're doing, what we're building, what we're up to. Reminders. If you're building automations, make sure you include time savings. The best automations are the easiest ones to forget. And if you are talking to us on Discord, oops, did you lose me? You guys still hear me?
You're still here, just a little choppy, but we're getting it.
All right. If you're interacting with us on Discord, please reply in a thread or tag us. We're monitoring many different channels at once. I can't think of any other announcements today. So Ash is on vacay. Today we're kicking it old school with Tim. Tim.
Hey.
What you got cooking?
Well, let's see what the devs have cooking this week. First off, we'll start with the dev update, and I believe that will be Nick today.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. I'll start off by sharing my screen and talking about some cool things we've been up to. Thanks for joining us on this Friday for our Roc Open Mic call. Let's get started. So we've added a few new things this week. Nothing super huge, but we added a query params input for ServiceNow actions, a generic API request action for Microsoft CSP, and an append domains parameter to the DNS filter create action policy action. Some bug fixes. We fixed handling of unauthorized graph API requests, changed that to log those and return a 401 instead of throwing a no invite error. We've also restricted multi-line edits to string-based columns on app platform data tables. Fix some error handling for generic HTTP requests when pagination set to true and you're using a method that doesn't support pagination, so something like delete. And we've also updated the name parameter to be required for DNS filter schedule policy action. Some updates on some larger initiatives. Granular forms permissions has been moved to QA. It's behind a feature flag right now. We're testing that out internally. IT portal and webhook integrations are still being looked at, and new dashboard just got an improved SQL query to populate data there this week. So we're anticipating those very soon. Some things still being worked on in development. GitHub integration made it to code review. We've got a pull request open for that. So we're excited for that one. We do have one thing to demo this week, and I think Jordan is going to show it off for us. I want to also give an engineering management tip here. If you manage any engineers, there's a bunch of sayings we have at Rewst, a bunch of Rewstisms. And one of them is, you won't. Very Gen X saying, like, you won't. And if you really want to motivate your engineers, get on a public call in front of 100 people and tell them that the thing is really hard and no one's going to be able to do it. It's going to take a long time. And then somebody will take that as a personal challenge and you'll get the thing you wanted next week. So with that, Jordan, would you like to show off what you've been working on this week?
Absolutely. Thank you, Nick, as always. I will go ahead and share my screen. So I just want to preface this by saying this will not be available to you guys just yet. It is still in the works at Rewst Labs, per se. But as you can see here, and I invite anyone in Rewst, in the Rewst Slack to pull up general and open up the workflow. This is what we are internally calling workflow multiplayer. It is still very, very early, but as a proof of concept, we can see here that we have up to 7 people currently interacting with this workflow. Currently, we are only tracking mouse movements and action edits. So if somebody opens up an action, you can see that the action actually changes color to match whoever opens it up. So we actually have 8 people here. We can go ahead and zoom in, see what Daniel Hayes is up to, or perhaps see what Jack is up to, or even Nick or Adam. As they move around the screen, we're able to see what's going on. And eventually, we hope to incorporate this into a number of different places within the workflow builder and within the app in general. This offers us a large amount of possibilities in terms of what we can offer you guys, and in the future, give you all the ability to edit a workflow together, or perhaps use this for a number of different purposes. For example, education, things like that. This really opens up the door for a lot of exciting things, and we are really, really excited to get this out to you guys. I only started this on Monday, so it was very much a you won't situation. But I hope that we are able to get it to you guys very, very soon here. But I'm happy to answer any questions or anything like that if you guys have them, or I can, you can watch people bounce around the screen if you'd like.
Noah is asking about Active Track.
I'm not exactly sure
What's
what
that
you mean.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah,
to
what is active track?
track your automation engineers and see if they're actually doing anything.
Oh, so currently this is only local. This is mainly centered around just recent changes. So in about, however long, the events will start to disappear, and essentially it will no longer show these people editing the workflow.
I thought he was talking about the eye tracking software that a lot of games use.
Interesting.
Okay. I
don't know.
see.
So I think we should talk about how difficult it would be to make negative time savings and how it's really hard to build folders and directories. What do you guys think?
I mean, it was so hard that one of our customers did it.
Thanks, Pizza.
Thank you, Jordan. All right, next up, we are going to have a marketplace update, and I believe we're going to have Daniel kick that off.
Hey, everybody. All right. We have a lot of work that has been done in this last sprint, in the last 2-week period. So I'll kick things off and show you a few things that we've worked on in the last week. So we've added the ability to purchase licenses through TD Synnex. Now that I read this again, I think we updated this last week, but it's here again. We have added documentation to crate details page for a few of our crates. So I believe the Document M365 user information crate, the org variable setup report, or config org variables, and the user onboarding all have updated documentation. So for those who are interested, there's a couple of items that we are dedicating time to on a sprint by sprint basis. One of them is making sure that our documentation is updated and accurate. And the other thing is making sure that the crates that you all use the most are, we're dedicating time to fixing bugs in those crates. Yeah, so we've also, we're gonna have one demo today. We've taken a look at the document group details crate. I don't know if anybody remembers, but the document user details crate was refactored not too long ago to be much more efficient. I think it's close to a factor of 10 that we've reduced the task count by. So if you previously were running 100,000 tasks for this crate, it's now down to like 10,000 or so, something around there. But JP will talk more about that. Last week, we talked about a new integration. We have ServiceNow that is now available as a PSA, and we added that to a couple of crates here. Yeah, we have a whole bunch of bug fixes that we got out thanks to JP Matt and Adam, as well as I think 3G Gregory is made a whole bunch of fixes as well. The one thing that we've been doing is also monitoring failures on user onboarding and user offboarding crates and making fixes to those accordingly. We've added things like a lot of soft fails and error handling to those crates. So they will actually, instead of completely failing, they might update your ticket, for example, with the failure. Yeah, and I won't go through all of these bugs here, but we had a lot fixed this week. And finally, we have some new crates that are going to be upcoming. So we've talked about the SonicWall firmware update crate for the last couple of weeks. We have a M365 email compromise response crate that's coming out hopefully next week. And then we have a workstation offboarding crate that's coming out in the next 2 weeks as well. Yeah, and I think that's about it. So I'm going to pass things off to the one and only JP to demo our newest refactor.
Hey, Daniel, real quick, can you give us a little more insight behind that workstation offboarding?
Yeah, I don't know if Matt is on the call. I can, if not, I can talk about it, or I can send an update into the coop or something like that. But this stemmed directly from the Canny request. So there's a Canny request out there that was talking about workstation offboarding. And yeah, Matt, are you around or no?
Yeah, I'm in here. One thing I want to mention about this is we do have the Discord channel going on, and that creates our Rust thing, and we do want feedback in there. Right now, it's just doing things like removing configuration items or deactivating them, allowing you to do like custom uninstall strings, and then removing from any RMMs afterwards. So that's the bulk of it right now, but we're open to suggestions. So look for that thread for that crate, and we will incorporate as much as we can into that.
Good call out. Thanks, Matt. It's all you, JP.
All right. Hello, everyone. To share my screen somehow. Oh yeah, there's a button to do that. All right. Sorry, it's very technical. All right. So this is more of like a kind of a tour to give you guys an idea of where things are located, so you can take a look yourself if you're interested. This is the main workflow where we branch off into the IT glue portion, and kind of like the last refactor we did of what the IT glue creates, I built in kind of like a failover where you have the option to set an org variable if you'd like to, for some reason, use the old version. This is where we kind of get into the new stuff. Just to go over it real quickly, you get our, basically the top level stuff is where you get your data collection. So we gather information about the flexible asset type specific to your system. We get a list of groups and their members, and we gather information about the current flexible assets and contacts in your system. This is where the magic kind of happens. We deter some more magic happens. We have either your asset creation or update, depending whether or not they exist, and those fall back to the same bulk upsert workflow that was used for the last refactor. We're using a new section in the JSON factory though. In here, if you ever poke around here, you have all the stuff to build the HTML behind in the flexible assets. And then towards the bottom here, you can see where we flip over and we actually build the data structure for, or the data portion of the upsert request. The process has been pretty effective so far. Looking at results, we see about an 85% or more reduction in actions on the Rewst side. And a lot of that is by using bulk upserts to IT glue but there are also some things I changed in here in the way that we collect information. And after I had things done and tested, of course, that's when I found yet another thing that we could make a little bit more efficient. So I'm going to go ahead and create a ticket for that. And we're probably going to take a look at that in the future. I didn't want the perfection to get in the way of progress. So that's kind of the updates we made to the crate. Anyone have any questions?
All right. If there's no questions, we'll move over to Brandon for the education update.
Heyo. Hello, everyone. Here I am. I'm just wearing one hat today because number one, I need to keep you all on your toes. And number two, nobody's really challenging me on the hats anyway. So here we go. Can everybody see my screen? Oh, sorry about that. All right, here we are. Here we go. So I'm going to start with our gaming tip of the week, and then I'm going to go over a few things here, and then I'm going to actually throw it over to Clea. I'm assuming Clea is here. If not, I'll keep going. All right, so game tip of the week. This is actually shouting out one of our guys here in the community named Charles, or Cray.io. If you have any retro hardware questions, you need to go to Cray.io in Discord, because this guy set me up. He's like, hey, I heard you got a Super Nintendo. Can I see your setup? And I'm like, look at my cool setup. And then he dropped some things on me that just completely shamed me. So this is a legit guy. He knows how to build and fix some of this hardware, and he's awesome. So I'm going to shout him out. Charles is awesome. Go chat with him if you have any gaming hardware questions, especially with retro stuff. All right. Shout outs to Jaden, Himani, Scott, Stuart, Stephen, Brennan, Chris, and Robert for taking our certification exam, getting that prestigious certified rooster badge in Discord, and getting access to our not so super secret Discord channel, which I will not name, but it's called Bird Brains. All right, otherwise you can check out our CLUCK Discord if you have any questions while you're going through the trainings. And don't forget that we have office hours and Roc AMA available. So for those of you who may be new or maybe you forgot, office hours is for those who are going through the trainings. If you have any questions about what you're learning, about implementing what you're learning, you can go to office hours and you get some time with Eddie Chow. And otherwise, we have the Roc AMA that's available for those who are certified. They have gone through the trainings. They've gotten their prestigious certified rooster badge, and they can come ask the Roc for some more complex questions. So just a reminder for those things. Otherwise, we're making some changes here, and I will be throwing it over to Clea. Clea, are you here? Clea? I don't know if she's here.
Oh my God,
Right.
I am here. I was
Okay,
counting.
there she is.
I said 10 hats, and this is 13 because 13 is a lucky number.
Okay. All right. Well, there's my challenge, I suppose. All right, Clea, take it away.
Oh, yeah, I just want to give a huge thank you to folks who attended the last 104 to 106 sessions this week. Had a blast with you all. If you are still making your way through the foundations courses, currently titled Roost 101 through 106, and you need anything, tag me or Eddie in CLUCK Discord. I had to run outside. We also added some immediate feedback quizzes to all of those self-paced pages so you can check your knowledge as you go along. But no matter what, we're here to support you. And one of the reasons that I'm pausing the live sessions is because I am with Chick, so I'll be going on maternity leave on September 13th, hence the 13 hats. Be adding one more hat to my arsenal, Mama Hen. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone for their support. I love my job. I'm excited to come back after a break. And this is really difficult, so I'm glad I did it. 13 hats, beat that, Brandon.
Yep. I don't know, but I'll try. I'll do my best. Thanks for the challenge. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Clea, for all of the live trainings. You've done amazing. You've had a great impact on the community, and we're excited for the new self-serve stuff we're doing. And thank you for all those hats. That was amazing. All right, I'm gonna
New
throw it
videos
back
on those
to
pages
Tim.
coming in September.
All right. Did we want to introduce our new person in the education team?
Actually, yes. Donna, are you here? We have also just hired our new documentation program manager. She's going to be helping us run Rewst.help, get some updates going, and take us into the future. Donna, if you're here, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone.
There she is. Oh, I think you're muted. Yeah.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Did probably wrong mic.
Yeah, not yet. We can't hear yet. No, not yet.
Teams love selecting different mics. It's the little down arrow next to the mic button. Still nothing.
Still nothing.
We heard like a whisper. Maybe it's like connected to AirPods or a wireless mic somewhere. Yeah, there's that drop down button next to mic. And then when you
at the
click
top
on
right.
it, it allows you to pick which microphone you want to use.
We can come back.
Yeah.
You know, she's got a new computer, new employee, so technical issues, I'm sure.
That's okay.
Yeah, we'll
Thanks,
circle
Donna.
back after the rock demo from our new rock person, Sam Rosenberg.
Hello, everybody. Sam, I hope my microphone's working.
Oh, yours is a little low too.
I've not got the wrong.
That's interesting. Yours is having the same issue.
How about now? I am definitely. Only have one microphone.
It's like we can barely hear you, Sam. It's like
Wow.
it's really.
Can you hear me? We're just going to see if somebody else's random mic works.
Yours is fine.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. It's very, very low. Yeah, thanks, Adam. I'm back into my corner.
Yeah, does anyone happen to know an MSP around here that could help?
Came from an MSP. I know how to use a computer.
Yeah.
You know, with the volume this low, we all have to actually really pay attention, though.
That's true.
That's a good point.
Hear me now?
If we get closer to the screen, does that help us hear better?
Don't know. Right. What if I get really close? I have no reason why this isn't working. I don't know.
We can hear you. We can hear you well enough. Why don't you go with it and we'll listen real intently.
Okay, I'll shout like this. Is that any better? So, yeah, I've been put off track now. So I come from an MSP. I've been a technician level 1, 2, and 3 at an MSP for the last 10 years. I foolishly moved into management at the MSP in the last 3 to 4 years, and wanted to get into something technical again. So my friend Jack, who works on the Roc, he told me about Rewst, and I looked into it and thought, wow, this is something that our MSP certainly had been missing all of my life. So there was an opportunity to join the team and learn all about it. So I did that, and now I'm here. Been through the courses, and Brandon, seen a lot of you on YouTube, and Eddie as well, been watching a lot of your stuff. So the workflow I made on the second day of me working here. So it's before I knew about any of the crates and the pre-existing stuff. So I've sort of simply reinvented the wheel a little bit with what I've done. But what I did build would still save like first line engineers several hours per month, because one of the pain points that we had was inconsistent user creation from first line. So I thought, let me make something that's going to simplify that and utilize Rewst. So I will share my screen and show you what I did. One second, not done this on Teams before, so I need. Can you see my screen? Things working. Okay, so
Yes.
Brilliant. So made this form initially, which you just put your details in. Darth Vader, obviously. So what this does is it goes off and uses an option gen in the background. I was going to make my own, and then I discovered that there were already some pre-made things. So we're in automation. Why do something again if it already exists? So I pulled on some of the pre-existing things in Rewst, which goes out and pulls out different iterations of username. So you can see what your client needs, what they normally use, and then select that. And then after that, it pulls through Active Directory groups, Azure Active AAD groups. Select multiple of those if you need to, and then same thing again, an options gen that goes out and discovers domains that are available on the tenant. Select that. And then emails that you want to notify. So you want to let a manager know, or you want to let me know that this new person's starting. And then the start date as well. Choose that. Nice and simple. Submit. Off it goes. Does its stuff. So the way the workflow behind that works, it's obviously got the no op at the beginning, core no op there, and then graph create user. So what it's going to do is pull the context from the first name and last name from my form, which I've passed in through input variables into here. Set the mail nickname, set the user principal name, set a temporary password, and yeah, that's it for that bit. And then it moves on to next, where it takes the Active Directory groups with items. So use the with items here, as I learned in the 101 course. Thanks, Eddie. Here, so that it's going to iterate through all of those, add my user, nice and simple. And then this, yeah, so this is pulling through I'm not sure why I've got that one there actually. Adding it to the back to that. And then this one sends out the email to the people who were in your list using first name, last name. It sends out a message that I've written in Ginger that just refers to some of the other things. So, change the password, the start date, username, and the groups that they're a member of, just ref. So obviously I still have an awful lot to learn. But I'm getting there. Very excited to be here, and got a lot of you on the way. Now, lost my. So yeah, that's what I've done in my first week at Rewst.
Very cool, Sam. Does anybody have any questions for Sam?
Apart from why my face has gone so red, because I've never spoke to so many people in one go and shown off things.
Awesome, and thank you. Welcome to the team as well. This is great.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, if nobody has any questions, will be some customer demos. So we had one I had to drop, but we've got Dustin from Syscom. Dustin Riley, you around?
Hey. All right, let me share my screen here. All right. So this demo is about the new Axcient API. It's currently in preview, but you can view the Swagger documentation at developer.axcient.com. And I saw an email this morning. They are still accepting signups to be able to get into the early access. So what this workflow is going to do is it's going to go out and look for Axcient backups that are in a troubled state and then try to troubleshoot them. So the first thing we do is we check to see if the customer is mapped in custom integrations v2 for the Axcient integration. If it is, we go on. If not, we go ahead and end it. Then we go out with the Axcient API and we pull all of the Axcient devices for that customer. Then once we pull that, we filter it out. We want to filter out, we only want to see troubled backups that are not in offsite never run. Offsite never run means it is an initial go, a full backup. So if those are in a troubled state, we don't want to know that yet. And then I've also got split out to servers and workstations here. Not doing anything different with those yet. That's just in case at some point I want to. So then let's go into the sub workflow where we actually do the troubleshooting. So the first thing we want to do is look up the computer in Automate to find that it exists and that it is online. If it's not online or it doesn't exist, we go ahead and skip everything and go to the end. We only want to troubleshoot the backup if the machine is online, because if it's a known offline issue or known offline, we don't care. If it's a workstation, it's fine. So if it's online, we go ahead and create a webhook and then pass that to a script that we run in Automate, a PowerShell script. Let me pop that open. So we're going to do a couple things here outside of the normal boilerplate. There are 3 services with Axcient. Axcient support first line will tell you, hey, restart these services. So let's go ahead and restart the services. If they don't restart gracefully, we force them stopped and then start the service. The second thing we do is we grab the Aristos log, which is the Axcient log that keeps all of the relevant logging for the Axcient service. And then the third thing we do is we grab the VSS writer status. We store those in variables, and then we send it back to the webhook. So once the webhook receives the data from the from Automate or from the endpoint agent, we then will create a ticket with that data. That, hey, this machine is troubled, and then we upload the Aristos log to the ticket, and then we upload the VSS writer status as an attachment to the ticket. So by creating this workflow, we cut about 10 minutes of time, of troubleshooting time from a technician. And then we also cut time that someone has to go through the Axcient portal daily and look for troubled backups. So future changes to this would be to implement callbacks, so we're not having to do this on a cron schedule, but the API currently doesn't have callbacks. The suggestion has been placed with the devs. So hopefully that will be something that they add at some point.
Very cool. I have questions for you, Dustin. Can you explain a little bit more how your upload works to the ticket?
Yeah.
Because some people, maybe have not ever done any kind of form upload before and might find it interesting.
Yeah, let me go back and share this again. All right, so from the webhook, we have the contents of the logs in just a variable. So what we do is we use PSA. So what we do is we do a post to system documents, and then the body is basically, it looks like that. You're telling it the ticket, giving it the file name to use, and then you're giving it the data. So the data is just the from the script output. It is the Aristos log variable that we set in the PowerShell that we sent back to the webhook.
So does anybody have any questions for Dustin before we let him off the hook? Saw a hand come up, or is that just a celebration hand? Yeah, I think this is really awesome. I think a lot of people are starting to want to automate more of these backup things to save time, right? You may not solve the problem with an automation, but you're going to save a lot of time on the technician side to, troubleshoot, do the easy things and then give that technician all the information available so they don't have to go dig for it. So yeah, this is really awesome. Love this. And thank you for sharing it. All right, so yeah, we are down one demo, so we have a little bit of extra time today, so we can use this for open Q&A. If anybody has any questions, working on any workflows that they need help with, any other questions for our team, while everyone's here, great time to ask. Now's your chance. And if we don't have questions, then and people want, maybe we'll have time for a story time with Eddie, if he's available. Or if Donna, if you got your microphone working.
All hear me?
Still a little low, but I think we can hear
It's
better
so
now.
quiet.
Should I yell?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah? Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Donna. I'm the new documentation program manager here at Rewst, and I will be working on improving the findability, usability, just overall quality of our documentation for us, and I'm happy to be here. Nice to meet you all.
Welcome, Donna. Yeah, we're very happy to have you. All right, so yeah, it's open time. Questions. If anybody has anything that they weren't planning on demoing, but you're suddenly inspired to show something off, or if you have anything that you're working on and you're stuck with, any general questions. Again, open mic is for you guys to come in and ask questions, interact with us, hear from us, and I see Derrick has a hand up. Derrick, if you want to come off mute, then ask away. And hopefully your sound works, or it's not just some kind of weird Teams issue today.
Can you guys hear me now?
That's better, yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. So I just got approval to demo this out today. I was going to reach out about next week, but it looks like you guys might have a workflow about ready to do this anyway next week that I wasn't aware of. And sorry, I was not super prepared. Give me just 1 second here to pull my workflow up. It is in regards to some Microsoft 365 Log Collection. I am a cyber analyst at Intech, and one of the things that takes the most time I have found is the actual going through and collecting the tons and tons of different logs. All right, let's share here. So it's kind of my baby. Ignore this left side over here. That's still a work in progress. Essentially what we'll have happen is you'll have an option to select what logs you want to collect, whether they're single logs for single users, logs for all users, and then we'll follow the workflow from there. The first thing we'll do is grabbing the single user, we'll grab the actual user out of the Graph API, and then we'll go and into our sub workflow to actually pull the logs. We use some time formatting, which is a nightmare to figure out if you want to pull it for the last 7 days, the last 24 hours, last 30 days. Ultimately, it's going to be whatever you want to do. And then we'll make our actual Graph API request here. And then we'll go into another sub workflow that will manage CSV creation. And it'll create the CSV from the dictionary input and then create a webhook with that CSV as the payload. One of the challenges that I didn't expect to face was getting this webhook URL all the way out to the parent workflow. And for anybody out there that hasn't really used sub workflows, this is the first time I ever used one. It's easier than you think. You just output the variable from each sub workflow all the way up. And since that's the only variable that I really care about getting, each one just outputs that same variable all the way back up. And then we'll pull our group membership data from this, and you'll see it looks very similar. We're making the Graph API call. We got some failure checks in here that send the user who ran it an email if they are unsuccessful on the API call. We have the exact same CSV creation sub workflow running again here. And once again, it pulls all that log data back up. And then we got some email handling and sending out the CSVs.
So how does this look to your technicians? Do they?
Yeah. They don't have access to it right now. Where's my? There it is. But when they have access to it, it will look exactly like this. Sorry, that's another workflow I was working on. So yeah, you can select which tenant you want to run it on. That pulls your tenants directly from your integration with CSP. And then you can select either single user or entire tenant. The entire tenant's the left side. Still debating whether I want to do that, how much that's going to be needed. From a single kind of incident standpoint, sometimes we want the entire tenant information. Other times that's just too much data. So then this will populate based on our dev environment here. This will populate based on the organization you select. And then you've got a free type area for any emails that you want to send that to. So I'll select myself. We can run this real quick, and it only takes about 20 or 30 seconds. And then you get a really handy email. over coming at you. Well, this is running. Any other questions?
That's pretty awesome. There's going to be some overlap with that compromised user crate that we're working on. I'd love to hear what logs and everything you're pulling, what information is relevant. If you don't mind popping in the compromised user crate form thing in that Crates RS channel in Discord and letting us know what endpoints you're hitting, that'd be awesome. Because I'm going to be shipping this first version like pretty soon. It's in code review right now. It should be out to the people to test with. But yeah, I'm always curious, like what logs, what things you guys are finding valuable. So that's awesome. Good job.
Sure. Right now, we're just pulling the sign-in logs and group membership logs. When I first created it, was only sign-in logs. There was no sub workflows. I ran into some challenge trying to get the best way to link multiple reports. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure that out and then building out the various sub workflows. So the whole idea now is, as soon as I discover what endpoint I want to query for the information, it should take me about 5 minutes to add to the workflow.
Love it. Yep. It's another great example of you don't have to build a workflow that does all of your work for you. You can build workflows that save time, that do some of your work for you, and then let your people spend their time using their brains for what their brains are good at, not for mindlessly clicking on things to open logs, but for actually looking at the logs. So yeah, one of my favorite types of automation, definitely. All right, any more questions? Or David, what you got?
I just had, if we have a couple moments, I just have a quick workflow I put together to deploy a custom authentication strength in Entra ID. So I'll go ahead and share that out. So what this was motivated by, let me pull my window here. There we go. All right, can you guys see that workflow there?
Yep.
Perfect. So this was motivated by a desire to enforce a policy that prevents the use of 6-digit codes for MFA. And specifically, if we detect a sign-in that has any level of risk, we want to maybe force the user to use a higher strength. I called this workflow high security. Let's call it higher security MFA compared with the 6-digit code. And so what I do is I've configured this because I have 40 plus tenants that are going to need this. Obviously, I don't want to log into each one. Where what we do is we get the existing authentication strengths to see if we've already done this before. From there, then we take that collection. We just get those individual names because the unfortunate thing is with all these tenants, each one does get a unique ID value. So we use a little list comprehension here to just pull the display name for the policy because that's really my only primary key that I can use. And then we go through and we look to see if that policy already exists. If we do have I just call it high security MFA. If it's already there, that's great. We've already done it. We don't want to do it again because Microsoft will let you have multiple authentication strengths with the same name. We just go to the end, we're done. Otherwise, we're going to create that authentication strength. This is actually a custom Graph API request just to the my screen just went blank. Oh, there I am. Okay. My policies, authentication strength policies, we just make a post with some JSON just to give it a name, a description, and then the content there saying these are the things that we consider to be better, more secure. Obviously, our standard ones. With our Windows Hello, the ones that are really like the non-phishable, but we also do allow for that Microsoft Authenticator push because we have the number matching enabled just to try to minimize the chance that someone gets past our initial conditional access policies, have one more layer to get in the way there. The next goal is then going to be, I'm going to want to extend this so that we then can apply this authentication strength to the existing conditional access policies that I've already rolled out. The challenge again being that because those IDs are unique to each tenant, I do have to do it by name, and I'm going to have some fuzzy logic in there because the names may not be entirely consistent. They're pretty consistent. There are some keys I can match on, but that's going to be my next step, is then to automatically not just deploy this authentication strength, but also automatically attach it to the appropriate conditional access policies. And that's really about it.
Love it. Yeah, this is really nice and so simple and so small, but super powerful.
It saves time, yeah, because otherwise I'd spend, going through getting the password, going through the multi-factor. I'd probably spend 5 minutes on each tenant times 40 tenants. That's a lot of time saved if I can. And what I did is I made a corresponding form where I can just drop down on the form and say apply it. As we're getting ready to roll it out, just drop down the tenant name, click apply, and a minute later that authentication strength is present in the tenant.
Yep, so good. Anybody have questions for David? All right, yeah, we have no one has questions. We have what, 5, 6, 7 minutes left. If Eddie wants to regale us with a story, we can use that time, or if anyone has any other questions, it's up to you guys.
I could demo something if you want, Tom.
Sure. Yeah, Eddie must be shy today.
You won't.
I was wondering if Aaron was still here.
So we did a disk cleanup automation recently. Because we discovered that we were spending about 50 hours a month on just disk cleanup tickets. Ridiculous. Some people trying to get some overtime on silly things. So I made this automation that triggers off of the disk tickets that come in from our RMM. And I basically just, look up the service ticket, configurations, because it gets attached as a configuration, get the configuration details, look up everything in our Screen Connect, because that's what we're using, because we have, ConnectWise RMM, and they hate Rewst for some reason and don't want to integrate anything with them. Gets the machine ID. If it's not there, it means it's offline, and, TBD. I'm still working on that, but if it is online, it will run the disk cleanup script that I have that I can show people. Updates the ticket with information from that. The run disk cleanup is actually a larger automation that I copied from running PowerShell on a DC from like the Rewst onboarding. So pretty much I just have to come in here and change what script I want to run and change what updates I want to the ticket at various points in time to get the details. But the script is pretty basic. Goes through logs, gets the disk space, if empties the recycle bin, cleans out the temporary files, cleans out Windows Update cache, deletes old Windows installations, runs the disk cleanup utility, and then it scans for large files over 250 megs in size. And that way it just records the large files, how much space those large files take up. And at the end, it kind of summarizes everything to say, yeah, we have enough space, or no, there's not enough space. And if there's not enough space, then look back at the large files and see if there's anything that you can delete. If there's stuff you can delete, great. Reach out to the client, get it removed. If there's not enough space that you can free up, then that automatically, should be a, hey, let's replace the drive, or hey, let's replace the computer at that point. So I estimate that this will probably save like 30 hours a month, maybe. It's obviously not going to solve everything, but it's going to hopefully cut down on those extra little things, troubleshooting time. Anybody have questions?
You're getting
Really
claps.
simple. I did this in a half a day, and it used resources that I had in the past, so I didn't have to go and develop those. It's just sub workflows I had running and other things that I copied over to this. So just quick little things.
Yep. Reusing existing workflows, definitely the very good way to save time while you're saving time. Love it. We are less than 2 minutes. Aaron, do you want to give us any parting words of wisdom as someone who's been driving the Florida interstates all day?
Let's see. If you're on a road and there's 3 lanes on each going each direction, the far left lane is for passing. The middle lane is for people who are going 5 to 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, and the far right lane is for speed limit and below. Am I right?
The wrong way around for England.
In anywhere but Florida.
Doesn't apply to South Florida.
Someone needs
Best
to make
advice
this
for somebody driving on the highway in Florida: don't.
Exactly. It's very risky. With that, thank you for everyone that demoed today. Sometimes it takes prep, and it can be a little stressful because there's like over 100 people on the call. So without you folks demoing, the value of the call would be much smaller for the MSPs that are looking to learn from you folks. So thank you very much. Hey, and guess what? We'll be back on this call again next Friday with you folks. Have a good weekend. And Tim, thank you for the help.
Yeah, it was fun. It brings back old times.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Toodles.
Bye.
Meow.